just call out to Jesus?
All right, you can hear
There
us
we go.
now. Now we're live, for real.
Yes, that's right, y'all. Hear me now, infidels. Hear all of us now as we come to life post Vinny Paz, some David Icke. And we'll be from remote locations, kayfabe to you, from Grandma's kitchen to the wonderful Hallmark living rooms, to the destitute homes of people we've kicked out into the street, to the deep dungeon bucking loving where we're popping, stopping, hopping like a rabbit. You know, when me and GGP get in the ring, you know we got to have it. We lay back in the cut, retain ourselves. Think about the shit, and we're thinking wealth. How can we mix our grip, and how should we make those infidels straight slip? That's right. There's no slip in the night, infidels, because we're going to look at the newest Mandela effect, because we're going to check reality as we always do here on the Conspiracy Horsemen. YOLO. Yes, good to be back. Good to be back after being on the road this weekend. Was looking forward to it, catching up. We've had some great guests the past couple of weeks, from the franchise, the King Gage to Zach Voorhees. And shout out to Zach Voorhees, actually hooked me up with another great guest. We're trying to confirm now an Secret Service agent who wants to talk border smuggling and also some UFO disclosure with us. Who's a whistleblower, so very excited about that. I don't want to stooge it off fully until we get that confirmed. And tonight we got a great guest, SMQ, YouTube host, also on Truth Frequency Radio, to talk about this Mandela effect that he was one of the first to find and put out there. So I'm pumped about it. Plus all the news we've been missing by studying these topics for our guests, you guys. So I'm back with my brothers off the road. Big Salala, sipping on there, man.
Got some coffee and coconut rum.
Oh, boy. Loaded, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel got some whiskey ready to go, but I got to get the coffee in me first. It's been a slow day, man. The weather changes. I'm already ready to go to sleep at about 6 o'clock.
I do. I see. I'm the opposite. It gets hot, I go to sleep. I don't want to go out. I don't want to be anywhere. Wait for the cold, man. I'll be out all night.
For me, it was nice last night after being on the road for 3 days straight to make it back, but I had an awesome run. I'll talk about that. Stevie, how was the greatest opening match in independent wrestling history versus the franchise Shane Douglas?
You know what? We got to a point, by the way, I want to be in opening matches until my retirement, which was 4 months ago. But anyway, you'll love this. This is where, like, we look back on it and we know, like, what we talked about when we had Shane on, which we will have him back again because he kept talking about how he wants to come back to the Horsemen and do some more stuff. But, you know, the missed opportunity is to be able to really sync up and have real conversations in the locker room. We talked about all the stuff, like bringing up Epstein, bringing up Q, bringing up all the 9/11 stuff. Before we knew it was like 5 minutes before our match, and we hadn't talked over. We didn't plan on talking a lot over, but the time had went by to the point where we're like, oh my God, we're like up next. And that was really a cool thing. So that was the highlight of the night.
Well, it's nice when a couple of rookies like you can just, you know, go out there and it all just comes together magically, you know.
Yeah.
you finally get it.
Out. We really got lucky that time.
Could have gone bad. Did he ask you if he could do a super kick on you early or no?
Yeah, I remember that. I healed that fucker out.
That was the tag
That was
match with
so
the two
fucking
kids,
amazing.
the skater kids, right? Whatever the name was.
Nice kids, but
Yeah. The ones that came out to Drake and Josh.
I don't think they asked me. I think they told me, we were going to do the super kick in the spot. Like, and I was like,
they don't know who Stevie Richards really is. They know the Young Bucks because they're 19 and 20 years old. These kids, you know, as feeder for whatever we were doing with Dick Justice to the run-in for the 6-man or yada yada. So good for us to get heat on them, but exposing themselves of not really knowing the business, not their fault because we're old as fuck now, and they were born in the year 2000. Like,
still a good
funny. The kid was like, "Yeah, we do the super kick spot." And see, we're like, oh yeah, do you?
Yes, that's when I stepped in and said, "Excuse me, do you know who this guy is?"
Yeah. No, we do this really sweet spot. I come out in a half shirt. My other partner, who's a little bit overweight, he comes out in a half shirt. It's pretty funny. We throw super kicks. We slap the leg real loud too. Fucking
stuff. Oh, sure, we'll do it all. No, they were good though, and I'm sure obviously franchise was real strong as well. Maybe as good as them, but we'll see. We'll have to review the tape. But you know, the master of the head scissors is here. Yala, my tag team partner,
Chris Envy.
He's the master of the Rana.
He's the master of the Rana. You're the scissor master. He likes to see them girls get her on. And you know, we were doing good. We had good stories going. We had a good time in Immortal. Always great to be face to face with my Conspiracy Horsemen brothers in any format that we can get together. And GGP and I were having fun. Unfortunately, wrestling becomes reality, and injuries happen, and we had to change the plan and call an audible and beat the shit out of our opponents and get out of there because he's got separated clavicle, I believe. You know, and he's back there trying to get it yanked in. The doctors were doing what they could, man, but it's just too much muscle. You gotta put the big horse in the stable for a while. Let him heal up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Unfortunately, I took I'm on the disabled list, or now it's called the injured list, right? The IL instead of the DL.
Is it?
But, so whatever the fuck it's called, I mean, that's what you get for wrestling someone who's fucking careless and reckless. He will rename.
Rick Reckless?
No, not Rick Reckless. Not Reckless Youth either. Tom can go. I won't blow up this kid's name because he's a nice guy, but, you know, whatever. My neighbor's a nice guy. Doesn't necessarily mean he belongs in the fucking ring, but that's just me being a little bit pissed off right now. But regardless, they can't hold me down. One arm, I'm still going over strong all day long. Thank God I have the SRFFF band program that's helping me out, so I'm good to go.
So just to give a little context, so I was like,
you're a little cunt? What?
Yeah, 8 or 9 Rolling Rocks deep when I got the message GGP separated his shoulder. First thing I was like, "Fuck, we gotta get to New York." And I called Chuck. I go, "We gotta get up there." Like, we gotta get up to New York, man.
He was in a mood like where he needed, you know, to at that point. Probably wouldn't have been a bad run in at that time either. But yeah, man, we were all super concerned, obviously, and you know, as always, everything could be worse, but we wish to be better, quicker than anything else, man.
The timing sucks. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Listen, man, I know a guy. He could take you to Colombia.
Get some stem cells, right?
Couple shots in the shoulder. Boom, boom, done.
I'm done. I am so down. I'll take the stem cells. I'll even take some to go in a doggy bag. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean?
You know, I think I have the perfect candidate for a fucking 16-year-old to throw down a fucking well.
Nice. I was gonna say too, you can actually, instead of a doggy bag, just get the stem cells in a dog and take that back with you, and then just extract them that way once you get home.
Nice.
Right back in. It was a good weekend, obviously. Saturday with you, man. Sunday was hardcore at Crossfire. Got double DQ'd, and which will lead to a TLC match on the 20th in Welland versus the Dirty Vets for the titles now. So. Me and Kong got pretty hardcore. It got out of hand. And then what was really cool, you know, I don't sell for many other artists, but I'm a huge Wu-Tang guy and hip-hop fan in general. But then the folk rock music I like, I was able to go up to Toronto right after the show and see one of my favorite artists in Canada, Ron Hawkins, in like a 40-person venue where he started. He did 5 nights, all sold out, so he put me and Sideburns on the list. Just one of those nights, you know, man, and to make the run and then get back at 5 in the fucking morning as the sun's coming up. It was just, even though I was upset about GGP getting hurt, it was one of those weekends where it's like, oh, man,
he was upset. He's over there in Toronto going, GG who? I don't got to pay. What are you talking about?
That was at the Sundowner afterwards to get one for Hooch in Fort Erie. So shout out to all the girls at the Sundowner. But it was a good run, man. So I'm glad we're back at it here, though, to talk some truth instead of just some phony wrestling. Where are we now? 6:27. I'm actually going to see if this guy's online. Second here, please, as I get close to the camera. Going to be on the computer.
So this is the Mandela effect guy.
Yes, SMQ AI. He's got a couple different handles where it's kind of that, but you can look up SMQ on YouTube. Should come right up if you guys want to add him. A lot of great stuff to get through.
This is our first show on Mandela effect, right?
But been on with Billy Ray and stuff, so he's in the mix with everything, and he's got his own show on Truth Frequency as well.
Actually, shout out to Billy Ray, man. On the way up there, I was listening, and on the way back, I was listening to his podcast on Jaime Media Group. He had Swamp Gas on.
Yeah,
it was really good.
Yeah, he's doing good things. I don't want to stooge off Swamp Gas shoot name. He's got a couple monikers.
Yeah.
With his job, it's important for him to keep some anonymity.
Enrico Palazzo is his real name.
That's it. Yeah. I'm dialing him, but I don't see him picking up here. See if I can send a message.
I mean, he could be literally getting on right at 6:30.
He could be. We're just a little bit early. I don't see him greenlit, so no hits on him yet. We'll see how it goes here. I'll call
upon even if we do talk to him afterwards or whatever time permits during the episode, we're going to talk about that Terrence Howard interview on the red carpet, which was really very, very interesting. And of course, the media was supposed to report and ask follow-up questions and try to find out the truth.
Fuck.
Laugh at him like a bunch of 5-year-olds.
Yeah. And again, they're not news. I get it, but whatever. We'll get into it later. I'm not going to get into that.
And take news out of your title of your show.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I'm sure whatever fucking fluff they were throwing down your fucking throat, they had nothing to do with news.
Well, I mean, the first person I want to listen to, as far as credibility, is the fucking weather girl. I want her to tell me.
Yeah, I want to hear the two stooges that sit out on the red carpet who they throw out there and ask who you're wearing. Yeah, those are the credibility people that I go to for my news.
Well, it's not even about credibility. It's that they're the Kangaroo Court Popcorn Gallery, where they get the access as marks to the real workers who are doing the work and did the casting couch grind or whatever they fucking had to do to get to where they are. But
here's the thing. Where the fuck are they?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But once they get there, and something like that happen, they're just waiting so they can pounce and then be like, oh, look at this idiot who's so famous. We're so much better. That's the weird satisfaction they get. But they're just like any Operation Mockingbird talking head that we've seen exposed who will read anything that's on the teleprompter in front of them. So I know that got you super hot.
I was so mad.
Not as mad as the little girl in her speech.
Oh, that little fucking twat.
Yeah. We'll talk about her tonight.
Absolutely. So it's
she looked like sort of like some kind.
Don't make fun of her.
She looked like
Don't make fun of her. She has Asperger's.
No. But she looked like kind of like a deep fake.
Oh yeah, she did look like a deep fake.
Yeah.
People are dying.
When I was looking at it, when I watched the speech,
Woods are dying.
I felt bad. I felt like she was mad like at me. Like I did something personally.
She was looking right at you.
That's what it was trained. That's what she was trained to do.
I was going to say it had nothing to do with the fact one parent was an actor, the other parent's an opera singer. Has nothing to do with that.
And they both support Antifa, assholes.
Yeah.
And then,
who was that with? What's his name?
Yeah,
was that photoshopped? Her with
Obama.
Soros?
Oh, there's one with Obama and Soros, like individually. Like, so here's the thing, whatever.
Are we talking about the UN girl right now? Sorry,
yeah,
spaced out.
All of them. But like, she's the one who got over because her little promo was the best in NXT promo class. And, her parents drilled it into her to be that resting bitch faced at 13 years old, right?
How dare you?
She was doing the Hameen eye. Like,
yes.
How dare you? I was like, that's good. That's pretty good.
But then I think more along the lines of Mad Dog Vachon. That's what I think.
You stole my future. How dare you?
Yeah. The minute somebody said shit about her, she came out and she did you make fun of the faces I make, but I'm on the Asperger's spectrum. Go fuck yourself. There's tons of people on the Asperger's spectrum who don't make stupid faces like you do. Like you're sitting on a fucking spike.
I should be on the other side of the ocean right now at my schools. Instead, I'm here with you.
Instead, I took a giant train here that was destroying the land as I ate my fucking breakfast inside of it. And then I drove a car here that also polluted the fucking air as I drove here. Damn. Go fuck yourself. And you're destroying ecosystems.
Yeah, it was good. But here's the thing. Whatever, we know it. It's a funny. I love promos. It pops me. But what doesn't pop me is I watch all of my Chicago connections who are high-level thinkers who know they are now caught in a propaganda scheme as pawns to react in kind, to put it over at any cost. When they, dude, this is such blatant pawn propaganda of using kids in almost a Sandy Hook way, right? To hide behind, to push agenda. Because if you come at them, what kind of savage are you? How could you be like that? But it was it popped me to see, all right, here is a real-time psyop. Can you look around inside the matrix that they're trying to create for you with information and laugh at it and be like, are you kidding me? You want to give me a visceral reaction this way? I just love all the memes and shit. I love all that, because that's where, I've said it before 1,000 times, satire is the strongest weapon in all of media. So if you're going to give me some bullshit like that to go off of, I may redo that whole promo as Hameen, to be honest with you.
But then you go and you watch something like a Steven Crowder, okay, and not only has he been, half of his content's gone from YouTube.
Yeah.
But people they come down on him, comedians especially, when it's non-left material.
Sure.
Like now they've the left that were all about Dave Chappelle. You're right, we are assholes. All of those people that clap for him and you're 100% right, we're the fuck ups. They're all turning on it now, and it's the media. It's like the mainstream media who are saying Chappelle wasn't funny.
Oh.
It's not the crowds. Because now left and right are both. Even though they got shit on, they're both clapping.
Right.
And it's the mainstream who's going, well, he wasn't funny. He was just awful. But he wasn't. It's like they're kind of turning it, like, I don't know, especially with this little girl too. They immediately try to just destroy every bit of criticism against her. And they say, well, she's
for a bear, dude. Like this, that's the whole thing, Sal. Like, look how much of the news cycle and social media cycle she ate up.
Yeah.
So right there, we know it's reactionary and that they're all pushing it at the same time. So we know that it's a fucking trigger to get dropped everywhere. So it floods the system and everybody's looking at it to be able to talk about it as water cooler talk. So if that's going on, what's getting fade behind the scenes that we're not supposed to be looking at in the misdirection?
Well, what's getting forgotten? Epstein. The thing, that video you sent me was fucking off the hook today.
The dude with the tribunal.
Fuck.
Trying to get him on.
Shit.
I'm trying to get him booked. That's Robert David Steele.
Yo, my man was just calling it out.
Yeah, dude.
I was floored when I heard, because normally it's very reserved about that shit, and they're like, okay, we're gonna put this dude was just like, hey boys, blah blah, there that is, right on the table. I'm just going to throw this down here. You guys eat it. And they sat there.
Was he a judge, or was he just dressed like a judge?
He had the judge's gimmick on.
It's a judge thing, but I'm looking at it. I've had his website up because there's a lot to get on there. But Robert David Steele, STEELE.com. And he's actually was cool. I like to get him on to talk about it. As you can hear the 3D printer in the background. He's very into open source things for countries to be able to kind of overcome these barriers to be able to have clean water, whatever it is that they're being held down by. So like an open source world, which is interesting to me, but he's an ex-CIA operator for 13, 14 years. He's trained hundreds, I believe, of other operators, and he's way into 9/11. He's written books, 9/11 Truth and Sandy Hook Truth. So I mean, this guy's right up our alley, right? So
I just saw the picture Stevie put up in the room. That's funny.
Oh yeah,
that's a good one.
These kids, though, the David Hoggs, this Greta girl, other ones, if not some sort of mind control or MK Ultra type stuff, they're just being conditioned to this reality, and then they're being coached to deliver these speeches. This whole thing with these two reminded me of some Minister of Information stuff from V for Vendetta.
100%, dude. I mean, completely raised as a, like, this is the new Hitler Youth to me. Like, I hate when people throw that a word around, but if you've raised your child from age X to whatever as a climate change protester, and then you get to the spot to march around at the UN, think about the deals and the people you have to know and what they want to do and use that kid for. But then they flip it, and how dare you on a child? Like, it's a field trip that they got to go to the UN on a school bus, and like, right. And she got to talk, and that's just the brilliant thing. No, this is all concocted acting 101, but it's the brilliant people that I know who know this is a psyop. They know this is bullshit, but they still have to sell for it. The why in that, in this day and age going into an election, is crazy for me that they will do that, dude.
What I've seen the most of today was starting off with, it starts off at the top, and they say, oh, well, Trump, you see Trump bullying her on Twitter. All he said was she seems like a very nice girl, and she seems very happy. Yeah. So I popped for that. Because he just smiled her to death. And then everybody went at him for it. And I was like, whatever, that's stupid. That's grasping at straws. Then they go, well, she has Asperger's. You're a piece of shit for fucking hating on her. Then they go, your science facts are bullshit. No, they're not. They're right there. And people explain and they lay it out and they go, yeah, where are you getting your sources? Okay, well, here's my source. That's not a credible source. Okay, well, how about this one? Well, where is this? I don't even know what this is. Okay, sorry, it's not Snopes, it's not Google. So what do you want? Then at the very end of that rope, after you're done running down the gauntlet fucking defending yourself, then they throw out dude, she's 16.
Is she 16?
Yeah. She's 16.
She's younger. Oh, she's too old for the pedophiles over there then.
Yeah.
Well, she's a girl. They don't want her. Sweden? Come on.
Our guest is on the phone.
I think so. I think he's jumped in here, man. Did the run in there. I appreciate it. SMQ, can you hear us?
Yeah, I sure can. And I want to apologize. I was running so late, and I know it's not very professional, so I'm very, very sorry for being late.
We just always worry that you might have suicided.
Google search of us or something.
Suicided yourself with a red handkerchief or a red resistance band or something like that. Anybody who's a guest on our show, we just want to make sure that they didn't get to them before we do.
No, what? No. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah, man. Well, we want to say thank you. I think you and I might have spent some time on Truth Frequency Radio on the Infinite Fringe a while back. We've done so many shows. I'm sure that kind of might have gotten lost, but I know you have a great your host over there. And is it the Lizard Ritual? Is that the name of your show on Truth Frequency?
It sure is. Yeah, the Lizard Ritual at 5 o'clock Eastern on Sundays. Yep.
Awesome. So you guys definitely add that to your podcast stream.
I'm doing that now.
Yeah. One of the things that right out of the gate, we were super pumped and scared to see, I guess, to some degree, because we have been keeping an ongoing tally since, the Mandela effect craze broke, and then it kind of got quiet. You were one of the ones to really point out this newest one. I'm not even going to stooge it. I'm going to let you go ahead and talk about it now.
Which newest one?
Oh, well, if there's more than one, the diary is the one that I was.
Oh, you mean Anne Frank? Well, I guess it's a diary of a girl. It's no longer Anne Frank diary.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's this one I actually got from somebody on Twitter, and I wish I could give them credit right now. I will give them credit in the future. But yeah, I got this off of a friend from Twitter, and I couldn't believe my eyes when I was reading that. And that's usually standard material in most high school curriculums, so it's pretty shocking to me. So this one hit home for a lot of people, and I think it was somebody with a fairly large Twitter following was like, no, I'm going to die on this hill. It is not called Diary of a Girl. This is Anne Frank's diary. So it's a big deal.
Well, I mean, even that right there, Anne Frank's diary. The Diary of Anne Frank is how I originally heard it. I saw Anne Frank's diary, but then when you put in the Diary of a Young Girl, it comes up right away as the main title on Amazon or whatever, but it also says also known as the Diary of Anne Frank. There'd be no way that our generation of Generation X and younger who would have been through school and had seen that book I have never heard it called in my lifetime in 42 years, The Diary of a Young Girl. Has anybody else heard it called that before?
Okay, let me step in for 1 second.
Yeah.
Because now you got me on the Mandela effect the first time, right?
Yeah.
I spent a fucking lunch hour in a parking lot like a nutcase. So my step back on this, it's funny, right? I was doing it. I was going nuts in the
Ford symbol, right?
I was the Ford, the Volkswagen, and Volvo. I was going batshit in a parking lot, screaming and yelling, going, "What the fuck? What the fuck?" So anyway, my thought about this, unfair. I do want to take a step back for a second, and I want to come from the other side of this, because I remember this. GGP will remember PS 138. Seeing this movie on VHS. Okay?
Yes.
And it was The Diary of Anne Frank. Could we be remembering the movie? Because the movie was called The Diary of Anne Frank.
I remember the cover of the book.
I read the book in high school, too.
Being green.
Well, you were there when it happened.
I wish I could have saved her. I was unsuccessful.
Only got
I remember the gold print on the green cover of the book when we had it. And there was nothing of the young lady on there that I had ever heard that. Right?
All right, fair enough. Like I said, I don't remember the book. I don't at all.
Out there, if so. GGP?
I recall it being The Diary of Anne Frank. Every documentary, every movie, everything refers to it as The Diary of Anne Frank. Never once have I ever heard it, The Diary of a Young Lady. It makes no sense.
The Diary of a Young Lady by Anne Frank. She's not off post haste.
Yeah.
It was found work, right? Like, so there's just too much, again, that stick out with this. I'm definitely interested. Go ahead, Stevie. Yep.
I have a quick question, just to play the devil's advocate here, to talk about the possibility that the name of the book was changed to, because I'm trying to look up and see something about copyright, trademark, royalties, if it changed because of the fact that if the Anne Frank family or descendants, now they could get away from paying them royalties, and now they changed it to a generic.
So are you really shaming them for being? That's what you're saying?
How am I shaming them?
You're calling them out. You're saying they're trying to Jew these people out of it.
Hungry? No, I'm saying that the royalties,
that's fucked up.
That the trademark expire, and now the publishers have changed this title, or did it just? I'm not finding anything like that, so I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, and the copyright.
Yeah, there's nothing. As a matter of fact, it says it extends now from new material published in '86 to 2036. So it seems like the copyright is still intact for royalties.
Yeah, they're not going to let that go, man. That's ironclad.
You got to realize a couple things. Everything referring to this individual is Anne Frank. You know what I'm saying? The museum, everything. Not once has The Diary of a Young Lady ever come into fruition. You know what I mean? Not once have I ever heard that terminology used referring to Anne Frank. It's always been The Diary of Anne Frank this, Anne Frank that. I mean, hey, it's CERN's fault at the end of the day, so that's the way it is.
That's rude.
SMQ, let me ask you this. Is this the first one that I can think of where both of them exist at the same time when you look it up to research it, where it'll actually give where other things that have changed, it doesn't show you, two different values?
Well, I mean, what typically happens with Mandela effects, particularly large Mandela effects, is you are going to get a fair amount of residue. So, and then the conversation that you guys were having is pretty much a standard conversation that happens whenever a big Mandela effect happens. And the way, generally, the way you can kind of see how a Mandela effect rolls out is it's first, it's noticed. And then there will be the generation that lived through the Mandela effect, like the Ed McMahon and the Publishers Clearinghouse one. When that first hit, this is at that level I would consider, which is massive. And you'll have the generation that lived through the time of Ed McMahon, and they could remember the whole, the whole Publishers Clearinghouse and the big check and all that, and they remember it in their mind's eye. And the entire generation of people that remember that, they all, well, you can say, quote unquote, misremember the same exact way. Nobody misremembers in 4,000 or 5,000 different ways.
Right.
And what makes the Mandela effect so potent is that, and why those that cling to it, is that everyone seems to come together simultaneously remembering it the exact same way. What would make the Mandela effect something more of a fad is after this period of time, if there were other people coming out saying about, like, Publishers Clearinghouse or the other really popular, whether it's Moonraker or the other popular, the first wave, I would call it the beta test of the Mandela effect, there'd be different pockets of people remembering different things. That doesn't happen. That's the first thing that happens. The second thing that happens is the generation that's just after it, like you were mentioning, there's an age gap there. They'll usually play devil's advocate, and what they'll do is wonder about it. And what I'm starting to notice is that there's almost like a formula for when a Mandela effect comes out and how the population reacts to a particular Mandela effect when it comes out. It's almost like this stamping. It's almost like a Mandela effect factory that stamps out how the situation is going to play out and how the public is going to react to the situation of the Mandela effect. And the conversations that we're having around here is typical of generally how new Mandela effect conversations happen, particularly whenever they're larger Mandela effects. And what the thing that I say is that, of course, Anne Frank, we could be remembering this, misremembering this. Obviously, it could be if you see this in a vacuum. The problem is now we've had so many Mandela effects, or so many large swaths of the population that aren't even into this side, fringe culture, conspiracy, truth, or whatever your flavor of the fringe world is that we're in, whatever this thing is that we're in. If you were to walk up to I did the Ed McMahon thing for the longest time, and we just ask people at random about Ed McMahon, and you get the same answers back. And that's what makes the Mandela effect so potent. So if you were to go up to everyone, they would be misremembering, if you were to take the devil's advocate side, about Diary of a Young Girl, Diary of a Young Lady, whatever it's going to be called. And that's another thing, is that with the residue like this of something so large, you will see both sides of the versions of reality, because I believe in a multi-world version of reality kind of thing. I believe in the multiverse. So I think that there's an infinite number of versions of reality that are out there. They lay on top of each other like sheets of glass, and each one's a little bit different than the other. And as each sheet of glass shatters, it sort of falls into the next one. I can get into that later on if you like, or not, whatever.
I put it over that I liken it to like that 1980s slideshow carousel, where you hit one and then we skip over to the next one a little bit. It's a little bit changed, where we're all in a big reel, and it just keeps getting farther away from where we originally split in the timeline. And every time they do something, whether it's crash two protons together or change the weight of an electron, maybe that's when we're transitioning there. You brought up some great points, and the Ed McMahon thing is absolutely a huge one to wake people up to it. I was also on your YouTube channel listening to your one of your latest videos on this, and you use the mirror on the wall, another great one to really get to people that's multi-generational, as it changed a magic mirror on the wall. Mm-hmm. But then you also were talking about your theories of the multiverse, and Billy Ray Valentine had brought to me that are you credited, as kind of starting the conversation that you perhaps in 2012 we all did die, and this is actually a afterlife of some type, or some type of reflection of that time. I just want.
Well, Stevie, I sent you guys that. Remember that creepypasta about how basically Lucifer met that kid in the bar in Ireland, and it turned out that this was hell. God abandoned it, and he left Lucifer down here and said, "You go ahead and you do what you're going to do," and that this is what hell is. And I sent it to you guys for that reason, because I thought it was just an amazing kind of a multiverse sort of thing of it's all perception. I have two things actually to add. One was Super Mark Party says, I'm assuming he's from the UK. He was in primary school in the 90s and remember the book covers reading Anne Frank, Diary of a Young Girl. And also the other one, somebody was asking what the Ed McMahon thing is. I think it was Dog Welder was asking what the Ed McMahon thing was. And I think that was saying that he never showed up with a check.
He never worked for Publishers Clearinghouse and showed up with checks, and that he wasn't the spokesman, and all that was fucking completely fabricated in your mind.
Right, but he did work for a separate company or some other bullshit with checks.
People remember him saying the words Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes.
But wasn't there a YouTube video where it actually showed it?
But isn't that post-Mandela effect where the video may have changed and left this residue that he's talking about? I mean, another big one is that's multi-generational is Houston, we have a problem. And then Houston, we've had a problem. And then Houston, we have a problem. That's the only other one that I know that has switched back and is kind of different, much like this Diary of Anne Frank having two titles. Those are the two examples that I can think of, and maybe SMQ you have more that are different from the laundry list of 200.
Can I add a quick question, please, SMQ? Here's the thing. We talk about the term as confabulation, which is just like, oh yeah, that's right, it's confabulation. Like it's already known that they have the automatic answer of everybody misremembering this as a group, as a hive mind, so to say. My question is, if we misremembered everything, the Houston we have a problem, Houston we've had, and now back to have, how are we misremembering? I'm playing devil's advocate on the other side because it's ridiculous to say you guys all misremembered it this way. Now you're misremembering it, and it's back to the way it was. You can't have it both ways.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And what this really, I think, when we discovered the Gateway document, the Gateway CIA FOIA document, and it started to talk about reality as a hologram, and reality is just at its base, reality is consciousness. So if you start to think that instead of the universe coming first and then consciousness coming second, if you inverse that and you say consciousness comes first, then consciousness creates.
Still there?
You lose him?
I thought it was me.
Hear me?
Now,
you're back now.
We actually have the document up. This is the one from 1983, correct?
Oh, we jumped him again.
Did we lose him?
CIA got him.
That's what I'm saying.
They just said in the room as soon as you said that, like, they got him.
Yeah, because we got the document is the analysis and assessment of Gateway process on June 9th, 1983. So this is a Gateway experience in terms of its mechanics and ultimate practicality. As I set out to facilitate that tasking it soon become clear in order to assess the validity and practicality of the process. I need to do enough supporting research and analysis to fully understand how and why the process works. So,
and this is right in the same time of, I mean, look at that, June 9th, 1983. That's you can't, sorry. Behold the Pale Horse, a lot of the stooge.
He's asking.
Here's an interesting paragraph on number 4 here. Paradoxically, can't pronounce it. Having gone to such great lengths to avoid trying to render judgments based on an occult or dogmatic frame of reference, in the end I found it necessary to return, at least briefly, to the question of the impact of the Gateway experience on common belief systems. I did so because although it was essential to avoid attempting to render an assessment in the context of such systems, I felt that it was necessary, after having completed the analysis, to point out that the resulting conclusions do not do any violence to the fundamental mainstream of either Eastern or Western belief systems. So I just read a piece of that, but I guess, they're really trying to figure out like how we're going to balance this with religions too. This whole experiment.
They've already changed the Bible, so how can they say that it's not going to mess with Eastern or Western religion and philosophy when verses have changed? SMQ, can you hear us, bud? We can get a check. I don't know if I can hear you, bud.
He's up. He's in there.
Yeah, I'm going to dump him and bring him back in.
Okay.
Yeah, dude, that's a crazy document. So here we have stuff from 1983. Yeah, you can hear you now. I see you're lit. SMQ.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
There he is.
We just we're going through that document. You got cut off right when you were talking about the consciousness of it all. But here we have the actual paperwork, not just the pointing fingers and whatnot of CERN did it or who's behind it.
Rude.
Hello? We keep losing. I'm not sure what's up. It might have I think to me it sounds like a blown USB port. I'm not sure if you got a USB mic or what, bud, but you keep cutting out. So we keep losing it. If you want to switch and come back in.
You want to hear the weird part? Oh, now it's coming up. It wasn't displaying the web page on my screenshot stuff on the screen sharing. It kept going to the desktop.
Maybe they are
strange. Once we started talking about this, it got really weird, man.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, someone had their Alexa on before we got on here, so maybe they found out what we were talking about. That's why they decided to Pearl Harbor us.
Yeah, man. He's got a lot to talk about, too. Great stuff. I'm sorry that we're having a little bit of tech problems here with him. Looks like he's trying to add himself
He's
back
trying
in.
to join in, yeah.
But if we can't hear him, to me, I don't know if he has a USB mic or not. I had that issue, too.
Can we call this episode Annie, Are You Okay? Are you okay, Annie?
Yeah, I'm telling you what, this document here, this gateway document, off the CIA website, I'll put it in the chat room. It's got like diagrams and all this other stuff of the brain, and I'm just looking through it, just kind of like here and there, and it's pretty detailed.
And that's from CIA.gov library reading room docs, you guys. So pretty crazy as far as what you can get your hands on. Page. He says go to page 8. As he can.
Section 14.
Yeah, section
14. All right.
I like it. SMQ. If you can't hear us, or you can't hear him, he's directing us through the document in
section 14. The consciousness matrix. The universe is composed of interacting energy fields, some at rest and some in motion. It is, and of itself, one gigantic hologram of unbelievable complexity, according to the theories of Carl Pribram. Jesus. Not Jesus, but this guy. A neuroscientist at Stanford University and David Bohm, a physicist at the University of London. The human mind. God damn. I'm never going to read an audiobook in my life, am I?
Not easy, is it? It's not easy.
The human mind is also a hologram which attunes itself to the universal hologram by the medium of energy exchange, thereby deducing, meeting, and achieving the state which we call consciousness. With respect to the states of expanded or altered consciousness, such as gateway uses, the process operates in the following way. As energy passes through various aspects of the universal hologram, it is perceived by the electrostatic fields which comprise the human mind. The holographic images being conveyed are projected upon those electrostatic fields of the mind and are perceived or understood to the extent that the electrostatic field is operating at a frequency and amplitude that can harmonize with and therefore read the energy carrier. But this is like the Terrence Howard promo, dude.
That's what I just want to say. Yeah. It's killing me that we can't hear him right now at SMQ. Maybe we'll, if you want to send us your phone number, Stevie could give you a call.
I can call him.
Bring you in through the Roadcaster, because I really want to get your opinion on this Terrence Howard thing that happened on the red carpet, because it seems very in line with what is being said here. And I think you may be able to decode it for us a little bit better. Stevie,
there it is. You see it, Stevie, or no?
Let me see.
He just posted his number on the chat. I don't want to say it out loud.
Yeah, kayfabe.
I got it.
It's coming.
I got called right now.
Thank you.
No problem.
Well, that's why technology
from no caller ID. I don't know if he is a wrestling fan. I'm just kidding. But really,
wow.
I'm star 6'7". Anyway, always a heel.
Woo! Is that Billie Jean?
Hello, this is the CIA. There's nobody here.
Hey, man,
Hello.
Chamberlain, what's up?
Hey, how's it going? Sorry about my connection. I don't know what happened. I usually have a pretty decent connection.
I tried to warn you. I tried to tell you they were coming for you, but you didn't want to listen.
It's CERN. It's CERN's HR department coming
Stop
up.
it.
We appreciate you guiding us through that document there. Did you happen to see the Terrence Howard red carpet from the Emmys this week? What they're considering a breakdown?
No. What happened?
So he's the top guy on the show Empire, and obviously you know what happened with Jussie Smollett and all that crazy stuff. But this is like the next evolution. So if you saw the Jim Carrey promo where he starts to, defy reality and talks about frequency, shapes and Tesla and sacred geometry, this is very similar to that. How he says he's unlocked the life flower and decoded in a different way. And then they ask him about his star on the Hollywood Boulevard that he's about to get, and he says that he's going to show that gravity is just a concept and not a force.
He's going to build Saturn without gravity.
He's going to build Saturn right there. He's going to build He's going to put out a YouTube video that he can build Saturn without gravity and the Milky Way as well. And he's talking about cymatics and a lot of frequency.
He actually called out the Pythagorean theorem. He said, I found what Pythagoras was looking for.
Who was Greek, by the way.
And that's what Jim Carrey called out. So they both called out the same shit. And and then he got into a little bit more of the detail, which totally confounded everyone. I don't know what he was talking about. It was so weird.
So it's definitely something we wanted to run up the flagpole, see if you had any information on that.
Well, I know that we have various kinds of documents now dealing with these kinds of techniques and patterns. And like the biggest thing with this some of the biggest people out there right now are people like Tom Campbell. He's someone that's very much worth looking up. Bruce Lipton is very much worth looking up. Anybody in the biocentrism sphere, Robert Lanza, MD, he's very much worth looking up. All of these people are talking about the same things with consciousness. So in that way, what happens is if you start thinking about consciousness this way, the Mandela effect no longer becomes something so incredible, and neither does anything else in terms of paranormal or UAP, UFO. Well, all of these kinds of things kind of resolve themselves once you start to understand and explore reality in this way. So if I can read just like a couple other pretty cool sentences, and it'll just take a second if you don't mind. Is that all right?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
All right, cool. So if you go back to, I think it's page 20, it talks about patterning. It says here, in other words, the techniques of patterning recognizes the fact that since consciousness is the source of all reality, our thoughts have the power to influence the development of reality in time-space as it applies to us if those thoughts can be projected with adequate intensity. However, the more complicated the objective thought and the more radically it departs from our current reality, the more time the universal hologram will need to reorient our reality sphere to accommodate our desires. Many of our trainers caution against attempting to force the pace of this process because the individual could succeed in dislocating his existing reality with drastic consequences. So there is a bit of danger to playing around with these kinds of forces if you don't know what you're doing. So hopefully when people find processes like this and they start to understand that processes like this actually work, hopefully they end up, they have some kind of guide, they have some kind of Sherpa or trainer or someone that can help them guide them through. And finally, the last thing I'll say about the document before I shut up is if you go towards the end of it on page 27, sections J and K, once you're they call this thing called clicking out. Is what they do with the hemisync process. And what you do is you click out of space-time. But when you click out of space-time, it says here, be intellectually prepared to react to possible encounters with intelligent non-corporeal energy forms when time-space boundaries are exceeded. So it's pretty hardcore stuff.
Well, Joe Rogan recently with Dan Aykroyd obviously explains it as geometric patterns in the expression of love. So tying an emotion to sacred geometry that's ever moving and evolving through some frequency in their DMT trips. And if we're seeing Jim Carrey, Terrence Howard, Rogan normalizing it and talking about it, there has to be some underground Hollywood cult that's going on that's whatever the new Scientology, where they're all DMT tripping together to try and find some universal truth or outside of the box thing, because they wouldn't just show up after years of kissing TMZ ass and E! Entertainment News and flip the script like that if somebody didn't really get to them. That's just not a single awakening that happens in Hollywood. That's a trend of popularity. I feel they have to. And I think more is about to be revealed in some new age Gaia cult that they almost belong to for the upper echelon of Hollywood elites.
Oh yeah, that's certainly a possibility. Given, I mean, I don't know. I'm on the East Coast, so I don't know. But I know that there are a lot of very, very mainstream scientists that are out there, all the way to quote unquote fringe scientists that are out there. I think Sean Carroll was just on Rogan, and they were explaining and breaking down how the quantum world works, and Schrodinger's cat, and all kinds of different things that kind of quantify what the quantum world is. And the big thing that they're searching for is a seamless way to take the quantum world, which has things like particles that are intertwined with other particles, and you have particles in superposition, meaning they can be one thing and another at the same time, like a 1 and a 0. They can be that at the same time, which is a qubit, which is a quantum bit. That's what quantum computers use. They use bits that are 1 and 0 at the same time. A normal processor that our normal computers use, they only can use a 1 and a 0 at one time or another. It's either a 1 or a 0 as it goes through the transistor, versus what they have these quantum qubits that can be 1 and 0 at the same time. So the processing power is exponential in terms of its capacity, power, and speed. So what you're talking about is you've got a full array of different kinds of sciences that are out there. And if you've got someone like me that is completely on the outside, and I only have access to public records, and I don't really have access to, the people on the inside. Certainly, I would imagine, and this is me just speculating, people that may be in a different kind of socioeconomic sphere than I am, they certainly would probably have a better access to more recent literature than I do. So that may be why they're talking the way they are, perhaps. I'm speculating, of course.
Do you think that Geordie Rose is a technophile who likes to molest computers?
I do not know how to answer that question.
It's deer in the headlights.
So let me
I like
ask
to
you.
shut the room down once in a while, because we can see him go orgasmic talking about his quantum computers that are supposedly too powerful for any layman to understand as they try and rift a hole in space-time so we can hopefully go there and plummet some type of element from the upside down, is the way they kind of put it for the layman. And just to see this guy salivating over this stuff, it just seems so occultist and so something that's not thought out by the mind in the right way. And that obviously, how are you going to introduce it? Like anything, if you're going to introduce cocaine in the 80s, we're going to give it to celebrities and athletes first. Well, here's this new age thought that's being purveyed to the masses at the lowest form of false idol worship at the end, So it's more indoctrination inside the indoctrination ceremony.
What it looks like with Terrence Howard. He's always been that fringe guy too, though. He's the idiot who fucked up his shot with Rhodey as War Machine, because and then he went and did Empire. So he's always been slightly on the different track. But I guess if you've seen any occult, any of these people who've been involved in occult studies, and when they're part of something like this, and they open up something new and they discover something new, a new ritual, a new spell, something that can affect their life, they put all in on it. They go full bore tilt on it, and it'll end up being Terrence Howard went on a fucking bender in his house, in his mansion, and shot up the place, locked himself in, and now we can't get a hold of him. Now he's dead. It's do you remember when we did Crowley shit? Crowley, when he discovered, he brought that dude out to the pyramids with him and his wife, and they all fucked and did coke and meth and mushrooms, and he allegedly touched the eye of God. And the guy that was with them went ape shit and wound up dying during the ritual. And they left him out there to fucking die. So this sounds a lot like those things where all these new guys, they're all involved in this and everything's kayfabe and very secret. They're not going to expose it, but they're going to expose it because they can't help it. They get too much power or something new that they like he was saying earlier, it's if they know what they're doing. It's dangerous if you get hold of this stuff and don't know what you're doing. And hopefully they have a guide, they have somebody to help them and hold their hand during this whole thing. But sometimes it's that, fly too close to the sun shit where you're like, I got this. And then the wings melt.
Or you take a bad exploder suplex.
Ooh, well, not that bad.
I wanted to ask you, because before we go past it, in the Mandela effect, I said the new one. You said which ones? Is there other ones aside from the Diary of Anne Frank that we're missing out on right now?
I would say the Anne Frank one is probably the biggest one in terms of the amount of people that it's affected. But we have strange new Mandela effects every week. I mean, every week we talk about it on the Lost and Found bin, and it's and there are entire channels that they get into different kind of like Mandanimals. There's a YouTube channel called Once Upon a Time, and it's or something like that. I'll look it up and send it over to you guys. And there's all kinds of channels that go out there, and they find different, because they're out there every week. There's new Mandela effects. Now, what our channel, we've moved away from hunting Mandela effects, and we're now getting more into the literature that the sort of alphabet agencies, the intelligence, military, and clandestine agencies, that's more the route that we're getting into, and that's kind of why we're finding different kinds of literature that's out there. And right now, what we're working on is something called the One Human Problem, Its Solutions, and the Relationship to UFO Phenomena. And that also ties things like psychotronics, as well as it ties the gateway process in nicely with the stages of human evolution and how they're working on that right now. So there's just different kinds of, we're more or less into that. So that's why I was trying to get to my Twitter page, and because I did tweet out a couple tweets a couple Mandela effects that kind of shook me up this week, and that was one of the big ones. So also the Schumann resonance spike on the 20th was massive.
Hello?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
There you go.
And they're trying to get us bad today, big time. I know that your shift focuses out of Mandela effect and into that. We definitely want to keep an eye on all that too. So you guys, the best thing you can do is give him a follow on Twitter. He's at AI_SMQ. Also his YouTube channel with about 8,000 subscribers on there. Great videos to keep following up and follow not just this, but UFOs,
And what's the show? That other show, the Lizard Show?
And yeah, on Truth Frequency Radio, the Lizard Ritual, 5 p.m. I believe on Sunday as well, and a guest on with Billy Ray Valentine. Will be a rotating guest here. GGP, go ahead.
Look at the plug master. Fucking finally wakes up to plug shit. Can never plug anything correctly, and now
I want to listen to it. I want to listen to it. That's why. I don't want to listen.
I got a quick question for SMQ.
Yeah.
You've heard the saying from Tesla? If you learn the ways of 3, 6, and 9, you can rule the universe. Have you ever heard that?
If you say that again, I'm sorry.
Have you ever heard the saying from Tesla that if you learn the laws or the ways of the 3, the 6, and the 9, that you'll be able to unlock the keys to the universe?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. When you start talking about like Fibonacci number, yeah, I have, and I think he's alluding to. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, well, he's alluding to sacred geometry, the way sacred numbers work within the vibrational frequency that we call this reality. Also, too, you can look into Fibonacci numbers. You can look into the Schumann resonance. You can look into. There's all kinds of things that you can do. And whenever you talk about changing things like universes and things like that, you're essentially talking about changing your state of mind. And that's really what I interpret a lot of his work. I think he was pretty far into this thing.
Yeah, I like to see. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask him. So you're a firm believer that, or you just let me take a step back here. You stated that, and you read that this universe is a construct of a giant, I guess, what would you say, a hologram, if you will, some kind of, what's the right verbiage? Yeah, projection. So, do you believe in that, or do you have faith? Are you spiritual? Do you believe in God? Are you an atheist? What do you think there is a creator that created the simulation that we're in? If we're in a simulation.
Oh, I believe in God. Yeah, I believe in a creator. I believe in God. I think that
one more for the good guys.
I think that right. I totally believe in God, and I totally believe there's a creator. I think that this is a creation that we are in right now, and if it happens to be a hologram, that doesn't mean people who are spiritual, they're wrong. Or people that want to call themselves Christians or whatever, people that any of the religions that are out there, you're not wrong. I think a lot of this is going to start heading towards, yes, there is a God. And I think that, atheists and materialists and people like that, if they actually read the literature, man, I think they would have a hard time sleeping at night, because I truly believe there is a God, there is a creator, and it can be that. It can be all of those things and still have a God. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. We want all of our listeners and live watchers here at twitch.tv/conspiracy horsemen, hackerhameen.podbean.com. Please go over, check them out on YouTube, SMQAI, at AI_SMQ on Twitter, and definitely tune in Truth Frequency Radio. We're so happy to be in the same circle with you, man. You're putting out great information, and we'd love to have you back down the road when you get to it on your next project.
Excellent, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to hear me out, and I truly apologize for the technical issues and for my life and being late and all of those things. So I appreciate you guys being so gracious.
No worries, man. We're glad to get such great information and all that government paperwork you provide to send us down another rabbit hole. So that's what we're here for, and we have fun doing it. So thanks again, dude.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care, man.
Cool. Yeah, check out his podcast, you guys. Definitely where he can go and not be necessarily interrupted, as we have to spoon feed it sometimes and go through so much that's going on. If you really just want to put something good on in the background, I was enjoying it before we went on the air. The Diary of Anne Frank one is one that definitely is going to get, pushed into its own category, in my opinion. That's also another easy one to kind of get people with, like you said, multi-generationally. So it's not CERN. I mean, that's the big takeaway. Here is a government army issue, stud. Not that they're not behind the CERN stuff too. I get it, but fucking that they're not into it. 33 countries are in on it. But what Hadron Collider secret?
How many countries?
33.
Oh, okay.
You thought he said 37, didn't you?
No. The number 33. Coincidence?
Oh, shit. I was going to ask him about one thing. Actually, here's a great thing is I botched a spot and didn't ask him about it. Supposedly there's big fires in Antarctica right now. And how do you have big fires in Iceland?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So go listen to his latest one. Like I said, SMQ AI on YouTube, you guys. Subscribe, leave comments, and a good comment for him. Tell him you heard about him on the Horsemen. Always does good business to increase our circle of influence that way.
Yo, do me a favor, guys. Can you send me that to our chat, our group chat, that document, so I can read what he was saying?
Yeah, let me
Thank you.
Link here. I'll send it.
Yep.
Only because he was a little muffled at times. I couldn't understand what he was saying.
Yeah, a little muffled sparks, but
he was coming off like Charlie Brown's teacher. You know what I mean? No, I'm not trying to be a dick. He was just the connection was bad.
Yeah, that's how it goes sometimes, man.
It's not like I was sitting there painting something and being unprofessional, but that's just me.
I tried to paint that lightsaber as best I could, Sal. I felt like a fourth grader sometimes, but it still turned out all right, I guess. I'm getting better with more practice. So, yeah, guys, the Terrence Howard thing was a crazy a bit as well. We covered Greta and her resting 16-year-old bitch face and what a misdirection about that.
How dare you take away my home, my dreams, my future?
I'm gonna play the Terrence Howard one because I can't bring up the audio on the screen. Something's happened with the website sharing, of course. Let's do it right here.
I listened to him multiple times. I listened to that interview like 4 times today.
What's it like working on the last few shows?
I mean, it's sort of training into PTSD because with the schedule that Fox put together for Empire, it's a lot of high drama, a lot of overall drama. So there's a lot of emotional baggage that they're going to cram into this 1 year to make sure they get all of their storylines. So we've got a bunch of therapists lined up so that we'll be able to walk through that place and maybe come out slightly sane.
So when you found out that this season would be the last, how did you find out and what was your initial reaction?
Lee Daniels called me and he said, how many more do you want to do? I said, none. He said, okay, good, because we're thinking about this being the final one. I was like, thank God. Yeah. Thank God. Well, my character has never had a good day. Yeah. He's never had a good day, and as actors and in entertainment, neither one of us get any kind of SAG health, mental health. And with a character like Lucius, you need a little bit of mental health at the end of the day.
And so I think I heard you say that you were done with acting after this. Is that?
Stop real quick. He's kind of exposing SAG too and other stuff. Like he's getting his little digs in and shooting all over the industry. Well,
even in the end when he's not talking about the frequency stuff, they're like, you're up for a star on the Walk of Fame next week. And all that, and he goes, well, how am I getting that if I've never been nominated?
Yeah, I've never even gotten an Emmy.
Yeah, and they're like, but you're a presenter. He's showing that it's all bullshit. Yeah. Everything is all self-serving, false idolism for the sheep. Stevie, you got that? You need me to send it to you in chat?
I'm going to play the rest
because
of it.
Then the fucking
true,
then the wench turns around.
Is that a big old lie?
No, I've spent 37 years pretending to be people, so people can watch me pretend. And I think it's time just to be Terry for a while. And I think I've served, like I talked to Sidney Poitier years ago, and I said, aren't you going to come back and do one more thing? And he said, I think I've done my best. Yeah. And I don't want to do an impersonation of myself. And as you know, I've got my book, 1 × 1 = 2, and I want to go and promote and teach the new geometry,
So are you thinking of working on things behind the scenes, or is it you want to take a break?
No, the entertainment we're the only creatures in the universe that spend our day watching each other with all of our brain potential. I put 37 years into that, and I think I would like to spend the rest of my life, doing something better for humanity or utilizing my brain for something other than memorizing and saying someone's lines.
And so what were you thinking? I mean, are you going to get more into philanthropy or activism?
Well,
oh, shit. Cut me off. Cut me off. What is going on, man?
We are professional.
I'm just going to go back in the chat and send you the one clip, dude.
I know what the clip is. It's a wide main shot of him and the two people in her. It's off KTLA.
Well, the one. Yeah, but I want Sale to get hot listening to the other asshole.
If it'll play.
I just sent it.
Actually, it will play. I got it right here. I got it. Actually, I'll bring it up on the screen share. Sorry about that. It actually ended up. Dude, I don't know what's going on today with all this stuff. This is crazy.
Papa Don, what do you think is going on?
Tuttle says Bam Margera has been talking like this as well.
Yeah, Bam Margera. Let's just cut this right the fuck out. Bam Margera does not have the money or the fucking pull to be in these cults at all anymore.
But
all right, I'm playing the
here's the thing: if they know he's PTSD'd from his buddy dying, and they can use him to get a message out, they'll do it.
He's not PTSD. He's broke. They broke that motherfucker. He snapped. It's God.
Roll it, Stevie.
Yes, sir.
Roll that beautiful bean.
Papa Don. What's he doing, buddy?
I don't know. The fucking guy's bringing down the show. What the fuck, Stevie? $600 for a fucking roadcaster doesn't work. He's getting mad.
Should have got the Cody Roadcaster.
Guy got off the back of the truck. That's why he was running after the truck. Can they hear it?
Are they listening? Is it on?
Yeah, it's been on.
Stevie can hear it.
Oh, Stevie's listening to it. It's all about Stevie. Stevie.
You can't hear this?
No. We heard it the first time when it wasn't working.
All right, well, just look up.
It's all right. I've heard it. I heard it before.
Okay, we're done.
We're off air? We're done recording?
I can hit finish real easy right here.
All I keep hearing is like a little whistling, like a little screech noise.
That's the 3D printer.
Oh.
Making you another
Screech is fighting bagel guy.
So, can the chat room hear it, or is it just dead air from us not talking?
No, they could hear everything. They could hear you guys talking and the video. It's over now. It's fine.
All right. Oh no, I can't see it. I'm watching our thing, and all I see is Ben.
I mean, there were just the Pythagorean theorem of like who's teaching that as a mindset in what school of thought. To me, there's some underground Hollywood cult
said it
coming to the service.
He said in the middle of in the other clip, the botch clip Stevie played, he said that he wanted to teach the new geometry. And he said that, and she blew right past it. She was just like, "So you're gonna do like philanthropy?" And he's like, "No." It's like I'm dumb. He's putting it over that
people. Sorry to cut you off, Sal.
No, it's fine, man.
But these people who are interviewing them, the highlight of their careers is being on the freaking red carpet. That whole Hollywood bubble is what their life is entrapped in. They don't know a higher elevation of learning or wisdom. And when someone brings it to their attention, because it's not on their spectrum, they just laugh it off like, you're just silly.
What you're saying is so fucking dead on and funny. And I'm not going to put Stevie on the spot and fuck the rest of the show. But
he's retired.
The Jim Carrey spot, this fucking idiot that they got on there, they sent her out, and she's a nobody from like E! Entertainment or some shit. And they sent this girl out to the red carpet, and she got hold of Jim Carrey. And she thought this was going to make it. This is her fucking big shine. She's
talking about a jacket and shit.
And she's like, "So who are you wearing?" He's like, "This is stupid. This is fake. This is dumb. The shapes in the universe, we're all just shapes and numbers." And he started going in, and she's like frozen. She had no fucking clue what to do. And
she's like, looking, fuck. I threw away my knee pads. I gotta go get them back.
She's smiling at him, and she's like, she doesn't even know how to rein him in because she doesn't. Number one, she doesn't want to cut off Jim Carrey.
Terrence said, "We put the words at the bottom of the screen."
Yeah, this fucking asshole. I want to cut this asshole's head off and put it on a stick.
Isn't it the guy that got that thought Samuel L. Jackson was Lawrence Fishburne too?
Yes.
That's the same guy.
These 15 episodes of Empire, you got to walk away for a while or forever.
For good. I mean, everyone keeps trying to tell me don't say it's forever, but I spent 7 years pretending to be people so that people can pretend to watch and enjoy what I'm doing when I've made some discoveries in my own personal life.
No one gave a fuck about you for 28 of them.
You know, Pythagoras was searching for. I was able to open up the flower of life properly and find the real way conscience that we've been looking for 10,000 years. Why would I continue, walking on water for tips when
Thank goodness he found it.
To teach a whole new world.
Wow.
So,
What do you to do?
Energy is explosion. All motion is expressed in waves. Waves are curved, so where does the straight lines come from to make the platonic solids? There are no straight lines. So when I took the flower of life and opened it properly, I found whole new wave conjugations that expose the in-between spaces. It's a thing that holds us all together.
Okay.
Okay.
Fuck
yourself.
Wow.
Skating going on?
You thought that was
You
it?
fucking cunt. You spent 12 years in college and you don't know where to fucking...
On Tuesday, when I receive my star, I'm going to be able to prove that gravity is only an effect and not a force. I'm putting something on YouTube where I will build the planet Saturn.
A voodoo curse.
And build the Milky Way galaxy without gravity.
Did you also say you're getting your star?
Yeah.
Fucking idiots.
How am I getting a star when I've never for a TV, when I've never received an Emmy nomination for TV?
Presenter night.
I mean, that's beyond some crazy heavy shit, right? Of like not anything slow shit. See earlier when he talked about he's trying, that level of 1920 to carry that shit off. But dude, this is directly identical to Jim Carrey's thing, and there's got to be some bigger new Nexium cult. Something is going to be exposed, and we definitely need to keep an eye on it here first.
Okay, so again, like I said earlier, now you heard the way he was talking. Okay, he was very excited.
Sorry, I just wanted to stop 1 sec. He said he was going to create Saturn and the Milky Way and defy gravity on Tuesday. So it's Wednesday now. So if somebody can get us that footage of him doing that in the chat room, that'd be awesome. Go ahead, Sal.
Oh no, like I said, he was literally getting excited while he was talking. He was happy to spread this out. If you listen to the way he talked, how when he was talking about acting, okay, he was like, "Oh, it's garbage," and he had this very I don't, this is finite, this is done. When he started talking about this, he started getting a little fucking amped up. He started getting like, "Oh, and then I'm gonna do it for YouTube. I'm gonna put this on YouTube." And like they were like, "Oh, really? Great." And then she said, she's like, "I tried to change the subject." Like, who fucking cares? So.
Yep. Trying to go back to about his suit, and he's just like, "This isn't real." Like,
yeah, my star
real
on the fucking platform, it means nothing. It's a star on cement. And how can I get a star? I wasn't even nominated. I'm a piece of shit because I've been in this for 37 years, 28 of which nobody gave a fuck about me. So, you know what I mean? Like, they, for them as media, for them to just automatically and not even wait for the fucking clip to finish, that they were like, what? That was just like, that automatically put everything this dude said in the fucking trash bin.
Yep.
Everything was done. Anything this guy could have said, would have said, fuck you, doesn't matter, we're going to mock you, we're going to laugh it off. And again, I'm not a big fan of Jim Carrey. I couldn't give a fuck less what his political thoughts are. I don't care. But he was saying some shit that isn't Jim Carrey. You know, this wasn't the fucking wacky Jim Carrey. This was Jim Carrey coming out and throwing shit down. And the same thing with Terrence Howard. You see Terrence Howard, he's always constantly postulating about, you know, black culture and rising up, you know, raising the black awareness and raising the black man and raising this. This had nothing to do with that. This was, I want to raise the consciousness of the new world. He said the new world. I want to teach the new world this match.
The show, when he was doing all that, had to be the Chicago, because it's all cast there. One of my friends, very good friends, was actually the news anchor on last night on the debut. And I know all the people who cast for it there, and it's shot there. So they're going to have to toe that Black Lives Matter SJW line when they're doing the marketing. But the reality is, as deep as he's been in Hollywood for 30 years, that's just what he's doing for Empire. What he's been being conditioned to do and used to do, and where he is now is a completely different place in the Hollywood elite system.
Listen, he did not. This individual came out and basically told all these people there that this thing that I'm at, that the stuff that you pay me for,
garbage,
is not important. What's important is higher wisdom, higher enlightenment, is finding out the secrets to the universe and sharing it with everybody so we can become what we were meant to be, and that is gods. Not some monkey hanging from a tree that can only use 10% of their brain and spend the rest of our time looking at everybody else. We are, as a civilization, are so inept at the potential that we have, and that we can use to make everything better. But no, we rather just put ourselves in a box and worry about fake things like money and religion and status and all this nonsense that when you do bring it to the forefront, everybody all of a sudden shuts down like a little child and goes, oh, what you wearing? Oh, oh, platonic lines. And
what does that mean?
What is that? Oh, how's my hair? Do I look good in front of this camera? Shut the fuck up with your $3 men's suit that you're fucking wearing from Men's Warehouse. No one cares. Like, reality, let's face facts. If everybody realized that they're being worked, that life is a giant work within a work, because at the end of the day, it comes down to money and religion and power. And all that's obsolete because it doesn't really exist. And the fact that all these individuals from all these different countries on this planet decide to use people in order to make themselves higher on this hierarchy of workness, and when they realize that this shit workness. When they realize that this shit doesn't really matter, what's gonna happen? Everyone's gonna go, don't. So that's what it's about. Just like in wrestling school, you learn how to bump. Later on down the road, you'll get some experience, and then you realize it's not about the moves. It's about this. It's about making that emotional connection with the fans. And that's when you go, oh, that's what the veteran was talking about. Less is more. Oh, work a hold. Play to the crowd. Get an emotional attachment. Not doing 3 flips and getting out and kicking out and doing a super kick in the opening spot when your opponent's finisher is a super kick. I'm just saying.
I once again draws it all back. As far as where we're going with it, I think it's just going to keep unfolding. You're going to see more and more people who are iconic talking like this, and then it'll get introduced through the fucking Regis and Kathy Lee, Michael Strahan, Oprah, Book of the Club to fucking Ellen, and it'll just become the little next fucking thing, right? Of whatever it is, of The Secret. It's going to blow up like that. It'll get monetized.
I can't wait till this little fucking Swedish twat is on fucking Ellen.
Hey, guys. One of Kevin Spacey's accusers is dead.
Yeah? Which one?
Kevin Spacey's accuser's dead, according to Severus.
Wait a minute. Hold on. WikiLeaks. Is Kevin Spacey's accuser alive? No.
The accuser is a massage therapist who's only known as John Doe. The Hollywood Reporter was the first to report that the accuser had died, citing court documents from Spacey's legal team. That article states that despite John Doe's death, the lawsuit could be carried forward by his estate. Page 6 quotes the filing as saying, quote, no further information or details have been given to Mr. Fowler's counsel, but plaintiff counsel stated they intended to notify the court with additional information at the appropriate time in the future. The Page 6 report says that Kevin Spacey's lawyers were told on September 11th that John Doe had passed away. Coincidence.
But they found his wallet.
Yeah, they found it. They had just found his wallet. The accuser had said that during a massage at the private home in Malibu, California, Spacey had sexually harassed him. The massage therapist alleged that Spacey had forced John Doe to grab the Oscar winner's genitals. The accuser alleged that Spacey attempted to grab his shoulders in an attempt to kiss him. On May 2019, a judge in California said the lawsuit would move forward with the plaintiff remaining anonymous, according to the Hollywood Reporter. Most recently, in July 2019, charges being brought by an 18-year-old man in Nantucket by a man whose
cock was so long
he could suck it. In Massachusetts, alleging sexual assault were dropped. More from a man from Niger who rode on a tiger. More than a dozen men have accused. More than a dozen men have accused Spacey of misconduct. Teenager's mother, Heather Unruh, had said to the press conference when the alleged allegations were first made in 2017, shame on you for what you did to my son. The former anchor added that little is...
shame on you.
How dare you come over here and do that?
You steal my son. My son's virginity and take his future. How dare you?
Former anchor added that little, quote, a very strong young man. A strong young man, yeah. But he does his best to deal with it, but it's always there. Unruh went on to describe her son's mentality on the night of the alleged incident. He was starstruck, straight, an 18-year-old young man, and had no idea that the famous actor was an alleged sexual predator or what was about to become his next victim, brother.
Just another victim, Kevin.
Now let me suck you off, brother.
Hey, my towel fell off, brother. Come over here.
Dude. Keep a dead dude. Isn't that like number one, like stooge? If you were a Hollywood reporter, what are they going to do? Sue you like for libel? The guy's dead. So this is reeks of cover up.
Burying 101.
Well, this isn't the first time, right? What happened to the last accuser a couple months ago? That he decided to back out of the case?
Yeah, he backed out, right? He dropped, like they paid off or dropped off and quietly, and then maybe this one wasn't, and suicided himself.
Well, this was the one, again, this was the one whose mom was the one who did it. It wasn't him. He was like, I fucking grabbed his cock or did whatever.
This isn't that kid. These are two separate stories. The
kid from Connecticut, right? No, I know the massage therapist is a different dude. The kid from, what was it, like, was Connecticut or Nantucket, whatever?
Yeah.
He was the one whose mom was like, I'm suing you. The kid was like, I just fucked around with Kevin Spacey. And the mom was like, no, he took advantage of you. He raped you. He tried to molest you. And he was like, Mom, it's Kevin Spacey.
Mom, stop.
Mom, stop. You're embarrassing me. God, you just jerked me off. And then he fucking turns around and drops the case after they went to court. They'd already went to court. Remember, they had that whole big thing, and Spacey showed up and was like, hi, everybody. And then all of a sudden he was like, didn't really do it. We were making out. I'm 18, and my mom's a fucking cunt.
Lartsama Kaiser so gay. Lartsama Kaiser so gay. I remember the Russian wakes up. Get Dave Cooley on the phone. Look up Kaiser so gay. Give me everything you know on Kaiser so gay. Yeah, man. If anybody else, if there's half a dozen other accusers, I expect 4 more deaths or buy-offs. Suspicious enough, as this guy's directly tied to Obama and Clinton camps as their number one, and probably the number one CIA actor who, will toe their line on all of these shows that condition people to this CIA deep state.
God damn with your fucking noise. Stop it.
What?
Come on. Either you have some powerful mics or you have great connection, but
I just my headphones. Mm-hmm. Not like I got a $10,000 mic in front of my face and I don't talk.
There we go.
I'm switching.
Steve Arena. What was the other one for? Oh, we want to talk about. So get back to that Robert David Steele we had spoke on earlier of a guest we're trying to get. We had shared a video in our group as well, and you can look that up, where there was actually a tribunal back in February in Europe where these guys are dressed as judges almost, and then they're just talking about going after the deep state and the pedophilia. This is a CIA guy, ex-CIA guy, talking about in depth of them in America doing human trafficking or having women have babies with no birth certificate. So it's easy to torture them, get the adrenochrome up, extract it between ages 2, 4, 6 years old, and use that child up, and then ritualistically have them murdered or whatever they're going to do, because the child can't be traced because there's no paperwork, and that this is actually a big underground thing that they're battling and going against to expose as it relates to people all through government, obviously into Hollywood, as we've seen exposed as well. And a guy I definitely want to have on, RobertDavidSteele.com. What'd you guys think of that promo, man? That was pretty shook me up that day.
I've heard the name before. He's also because you said he's a whistleblower, so I've heard the name in other web podcasts and videos on YouTube and stuff like that. But when I didn't realize it was him, because like you said, they were sitting there dressed like judges, and for a quick second, I thought it was someone like in the Supreme Court fucking just breaking kayfabe and saying all this shit. My mouth dropped. I was like, what? He just mentioned Pizzagate. He mentioned this. He mentioned adrenochrome. He mentioned that, saying this and that and the other. And I'm like, holy shit. You know? And then I realized after you said his name, I went, oh, wait a minute. He's not a judge. Yeah. But then he's a former CIA guy. So the question is, why was he dressed up? What's the deal?
Absolutely. I think
sold it right away.
You know, after I looked into him, I was like, so maybe we all just need to wear judges' robes from when we go on air now, is what I was thinking off of that.
Well, that's when you sent me that video, because again, I hadn't heard of this. And I went and I watched it, and then I was like, wait, what the fuck is this? Because again, like GGP, I'm like, who is this dude? And I saw the judge's outfit, and I was like, wait a minute. And that was the thing. That was the jarring thing. He was saying Pizzagate. He was saying the adrenochrome. He was saying, satanic rituals and blood sacrifices. And I'm going, wait, how is a fucking judge doing this?
That's when you turn into Denzel and look at him and go, my man.
Yeah. I'm going, holy fuck, this guy's got nuts, because he ain't making it out of the courthouse. Right? And then I realized,
plus he's 13 years CIA, man.
And he dropped that like 3 or 4 times. He's like, not only CIA, but FBI and NSA. Like, he was dropping the fucking alphabet all over the joint. Yeah. And he had no issues with that. And I was like, dude, this fucking guy. And then I went and I looked him up, and I was like, okay, I didn't understand that he was not a judge. Because I was immediately just, like I said, I was at work, and I'm listening to it on headphones, and I'm going, wait, this dude's actually saying these words as opposed to abuse, just like blanket statements.
Sal,
ritual abuse.
I got some bad news for you.
What's up, baby?
Jeff Jones, not really a judge as well, buddy.
What?
Wow.
I know. It's an earth-shattering day here.
Do you know Jeff Jones? Jeff Jones was actually one of my first managers.
Yeah, I probably did know that, actually.
You were actually there.
I think I was there at the time.
You were.
Anybody else got anything they want to add on Kevin Spacey's gimmick before we switch the...
He's a gay.
Anything you want to add on Kevin Spacey's gimmick, like your fucking fingers?
Yeah.
Mouth hugs?
We'll see if he gets renewed or if he can make it out of this alive, man. I don't know. With everything that's going on, I don't really want to talk about Trump and Ukraine and Biden and all this misdirection shit. It's just all theater of the absurd for them to keep it off of Epstein and all that.
How dare you? How dare you steal my thunder? I am the ultimate misdirection spot. You're stealing it now with your propaganda and your bullshit impeachment.
This spot is dying.
The spot is dying. From Brent Logan. a great supporter next month. Want to say already early shout out to Lethal Vendetta. You'll be hearing their music all month long as they're sponsoring us next month. And I want everybody to make sure once we get her going to get out there on iTunes, buy their album. If you're definitely into hard rock metal, please support because they're huge fans of us. They wear our shirts and stuff on their shows and shit like that.
Right now Brett Logan is supporting Dark Angel wearing a Horseman shirt.
Nice.
Right now, tonight.
And he's actually in a bit of a, if there is a Brent Logan, because, Strangler Steve from the Wednesday Locker Room proposes that there's no Australia because of the Mandela effect. So is there a Brent Logan if there's no Australia?
No.
Whiskey's good.
I just looked it up. No.
Okay. Lawyer X. Hey guys, it's been a while since I've sent an email, but I wanted to send something that was worthwhile. Between the years of 1995 and 2010 in Melbourne, Australia, saw the worst gangland killings in Australia's history. 36 criminal figures were killed during this time and all had ties to Melbourne underworld. Wow, 15 years, 36 guys. Time to catch up, boys. Recently in Australian news, there's been someone who...
Chicago, right?
Yeah, that was last weekend. Someone who dubbed Lawyer X. Lawyer X. Oh. All right. Real name is Nickel.
What? Nickelback.
I'm frozen.
Oh, Nicola, am I back?
There you go.
I'm back. Real name Nicola Gobo, who had a documentary about her. Nicola was a criminal defense lawyer, 1995 to 2009. For most people involved in these gangs, she was even at the baptism of the daughter of Carl Williams, who was the leader of one of the gangs and ordered most of the hits. During a Royal Commission investigation, same as the Presidential Commission, so it sounds very similar to 9/11 Commission. It was discovered that while she was the defense lawyer, she was also the police informant. Many of the convictions are in the process of being overturned now that it's been found out that she was feeding the police information about her clients. What do you think of this in your own opinion? Is it a dirty police tactic, or is the police trying to do what's necessary to get the criminals off the street? Hope all is well. P.S. Steve, your podcast with Hayden Walden had me in tears. Was good stuff. Thanks.
Nice.
Yeah, man. You're just used to the corruption. Steve, you all right?
I'm good. Oh, shit. One on the board.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Australia, I think since they gun grabbed on you guys and the gang violence isn't as hardcore. I mean, obviously 36 murders in 15 years isn't like anything to scoff at. But what's, more shocking for you has just become commonplace in the background of our lives, unfortunately, that murders have been hit at to some degree. When it comes to the corruption of the police, working with somebody to get what they want done, it's both ways. You see so many corrupt police departments. I mean, if you want to watch fiction like The Wire that outlines things in Baltimore to Chicago corruption, imagine trying to do that until the point where you have to break the law and rules yourself in order to get things done because you operate in a system that's so fucked up that there's no other way to get the guy at the end of the day that's really causing it all. So that's what corruption breeds, whether even if you watch old shows, and I'm talking fiction like Peaky Blinders.
Great show.
Yeah, or the American story of the Kennedys. You go from gangster bootleggers to running the country to getting taken out by the secret societies because you wanted to break up their power system. These things are always going on every level. So what might seem like shocking corruption and stooge report to you turns into a Tekashi 6ix9ine meme for us in America right now. So anybody got anything they want to add to that?
Not on that.
Fuck him. It's Australia. Who cares?
It might not even exist.
It's not. It's a fake place full of criminals.
Stevie, your favorite Tekashi 6ix9ine track?
The next one after he's dead that gets released. Because he's stooging everybody off, isn't he?
Stiff. He's a clone, so it doesn't really matter.
Frozen. You're back.
I'm frozen. I'm here. I think my favorite Tekashi 6ix9ine track. That's a tough one, man. Tough one. Stooge Core is good. Taking the Ass is another real good one. I like that. Epidemics and Curfews from Josh Logan. I don't know if it's relation to Brent Logan or not.
They're all married down there.
What's good, fellas? I wanted to ask Stevie if he thought there's going to be a Super Bowl rematch this year between the Pats and Eagles. If the Pats win, I get a free Stevie Richards program. If the Eagles win, he gets a free Josh Logan fitness program, which includes cold cuts, ice cream, and remote control curls while watching 80s aerobic shows with chicks in tight outfits. Right or left hand exercises not included. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of this epidemic we're having here in the Boston area. There's been an outbreak of triple E virus, which is transmitted by mosquitoes, and there hasn't been any documented cases of this since 2012. By outbreak, I mean over the course of the month, there's been 7 total confirmed cases, including a 5-year-old girl and one 50-year-old lady has died. 7 cases have now caused multiple cities and towns to impose curfews of any town, city, border, outdoor activity to be stopped from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. No Friday night lights, soccer, etc. And kids are afraid to go outside and scared to death of being bitten by a mosquito. My thoughts are, 1, where the fuck is this disease magically appearing from? 2, with all the spraying that they're doing all over the state, what the hell is in the air that I'm breathing? And finally, the curfew. Sure, it's only state programs right now, but what's the next step? Closing all businesses and no one goes outside after 6 p.m. until all the frost comes to kill the mosquitoes? I was just thinking that this could be a dry run for something. What? I don't know. Boston's a major but overall small city, so why not let's try this experiment in Boston? See what's happened and made adjustments and then unleash in New York City and D.C. next summer. I don't know what the long game is, but it's just a thought. I'm thinking out loud because if I sound like an idiot, then you guys will tell me that I'm an idiot. So
you're an idiot.
To stop being an idiot. You idiot. I hate idiots. That's all for now. Later. Well, good to check yourself. I don't think it went on too long in the way you wrote. It wasn't too self-serving, and this is interesting. Did you guys see the story that it was a lab-made virus that supposedly escaped?
I didn't see the story, but yet again, it's only 7 people in a matter of a month. It's not like a big outbreak. You know what I'm saying? So it's these statistics that people are throwing left and right, it's a little conservative on my end. If 7 people get the flu, it doesn't necessarily mean there's a flu epidemic. You know what I mean? But it is something that's rare or maybe something that's new. So it could be something that's from a fucking lab that they put into a mosquito on purpose.
Well, I mean, Lyme disease, and what he's saying isn't that far out of the Agenda 21 playbook that you can look up exactly on how to control something. So we're talking fear-mongering with propaganda equals controlling the masses to get them to curfew. Just say, hey, can we do it in a small city, a small area? He's not wrong saying that, especially since the Boston bombings truly never been investigated with the craft services stuff, that the Zarnoff brothers and cousin, and the strange assassination by the FBI on the MMA guy who was the stooge there, where they shot him while he was fucking face down on his own floor. So there's definitely Boston as a testing site for false flags. So he's not fucking crazy in thinking that.
No, I don't think so either.
Well, now this is years ago, going back when they were spraying in Jersey down by Tom's River and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody had to get inside, shut your windows, turn off your air conditioning. Everybody had to get off the streets because they had the trucks going around piping out the mosquito shit. Because the West Nile, because one kid died from the West Nile virus and the mosquitoes. So they had all that shit going on where they cleared the fucking streets. And then when people were like, well, what's going on? They're like, oh, we'll stop. I'm sorry, what? Like, just out of nowhere. They were just like, oh, okay, no, you know what? You're right. We'll stop. And that was it.
And what's in there is we do climate change and geoengineering with high particulates, metal particulates in the sky. If they're doing it at a ground level, what are they pumping out there again? You know, if people are saying, oh, we're not going to do vaccinations for our kids because you put a bunch of shit in them compared to what they were when we were kids. Oh, you're not? Okay, then mosquito shit, we'll just pump it in the air. Fuck it.
Well, that's the thing. He's saying like, oh, well, Boston's a small place. They can do it. They've been doing it for years. So
what? Right? St. Louis was that the city with the they put
stuff where they're spraying.
What
was it? They're putting stuff
LSD,
in the water
right?
and
LSD
spraying the air.
Yeah. Fuck.
Same dusty finish, man.
I would actually look at that operation that went on there, and I think it was the 50s possibly, and see if any of the parallels line up of what you're seeing, because everything we've seen from the NWO playbook isn't a new fucking out of nowhere thing. This shit's been around for 40, 50, 60 years through generations of presidents.
Yep.
They're just going to wait it out and keep playing the slow game because they will, and move the line forward a little bit each time.
But again, that's what he's saying. He's saying, like, he's coming at it like this is a new thing there. Like, they're just trying this out now. This has been going on. They've been doing this under a different name. Who knows? Because they added one more cell of XYZ to this. Now they call it the triple E virus. If next week they can call it the triple D virus, and they'll never come to Easton, so I'm safe. There's tons of shit they can do.
One from Logan at Xavier Academy. I have these knives that keep shooting out of my
Logans. All these Logans. What the fuck?
I just want to do rule of threes.
That's fine. That's
Make
fine.
a Wolverine joke with an XavierAcademy.edu address. Didn't do it all the way. Because I'm not.
But I just want to say something to Sal. Sal, you know what? Dude is from Boston, and the people from Boston, they're not that smart. You know what I mean? So
they are wicked smart. They aren't wicked. They're not wicked smart.
How you like them apples? Facebook's gone too far. Justin French, race car driver, says, guys, it's getting bad. We all know how Facebook listens to everything you say, and boom, there's an ad for it. Stevie, he probably gets a lot of ads for the newest model of Echo or steel chainsaws. Facebook hit a new Facebook hit a new low Saturday. My girlfriend and I were talking about how I needed to re-caulk/seal the front of my race car trailer. I was explaining to her how I was going to use masking tape along both sides of the joint so it would have the perfect even caulk. Even caulk. Kind of like when you paint. To sum it up, it worked out good. And later that night on Facebook, and boom, not only is there a Home Depot ad for caulk, but look at how they're doing it, using fucking masking tape, exactly like I described. This much detail is starting to get out of hand. Sorry for the long email. Sal, you're still my hero. Sent from my 5G cancer-causing cellular device. And he also sent the picture to me of taping with caulk. Yeah, dude, when it comes to the Cambridge Analytica thing, I think they stooge it off pretty well. So let's say they're even using that caulk as a whatever word, and Home Depot has paid. The way I would see it is there's a stock photography bin that Google AI will take the keywords caulk, tape, put them together. They've already paid for the Home Depot ad, and then because of your preferences and what it's heard you say, will select what they believe the proper file to be to have a response. And now it can, through Cambridge Analytica algorithms that they've applied to marketing now, will give you the specific thing in a scary, accurate way. Stevie, I know with building the Hackintosh and some other things recently, you've had some of these exact experiences.
Yeah, everything is everything. What was the last one that I sent you guys that I was thinking? I was literally thinking about something and never said a word. What's that?
Yeah. You were thinking about it and didn't fucking even.
I forget what it was, but it came up in my Instagram and then it came up in my Facebook 5 minutes after that. So I don't know, man. I watched a show on Travel Channel called Strange World. It's a guy who wrote Stranger Things. Before they converted it, or he wrote the show, I'm not sure. He wrote a book about it.
The brothers, isn't it?
What's that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I thought it was the brothers.
Name, but he did. It was an entire thing on AI and how they hooked electrodes up to him and showed him pictures on the TV, and right down to what he focused on. So if he focused on the person's eyes, that was more clear than their whole other face, but it reproduced the face. It interpreted his thoughts into the picture, and it was dead accurate. I mean, it wasn't the full head, but it was the face. And if you looked at the nose was clear, but everything else was a little fuzzy. If you looked at the eyes. So I wonder if there's brain waves or frequency that, because these things were basically an antenna for these things, We're a receptor for all the frequency.
It's very interesting. Have you felt this, and maybe it's because the addiction is growing stronger, but I saw this too of even when I'm not using my phone or when I'm using it, whatever, and I need to go to another room and I'm about to just get up and walk to the room, I will stop, go back, grab my phone, put it in my pocket just to go to the next room. Is anybody else doing that in their addiction level? I don't know if it's in a social media manager or there's some type of frequency tethering where you are actually locked to this sometimes, and you will have an anxiety trigger in your mind to go back and get it based on something that we're not seeing or feeling, and it's emitting a field of addiction to us.
So here's my side of this. If I take the dog out for a walk, I go to leave and I go, wait. And I grab the phone because I think I'm going to be out here. And this is a true story. I'm going to be out there and I'm going to see something and I'm going to want to film it. Or I'm going to want to look something up or have to call someone. And something's going to have to happen where I'm going to need my phone and not fucking have it. I'm going to be pissed the whole night because I missed something. And it happened, I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, big orange ball flying through the sky. And I didn't have my phone. I had somebody else with me at the time, and they didn't have their phone either.
So FOMO.
It was we kayfabe it, but it was Dan Aykroyd.
So FOMO combined with PTSD of it is enough to drive the addiction that you want to have all the time. I don't really have an experience where I could attribute to that, but I'll walk 10 feet away, like I'm walking up the stairs, to get to the elevator to go up 200 floors. And, then I'll look back and it's sitting there. Just if I got to go up to take a leak, I will go back, grab it, put it in my pocket to go upstairs, and I'm coming right back down to it.
That's human instinct, though. That's you just you're afraid you're going to miss something because we rely on this so much.
But I'm not even. I know I'm not going to use it. I'm not going to put on a YouTube video.
It's not. You don't know. That.
It's some. I'm asking. Is there a Pavlovian frequency that these phones are emitting that we can't hear, but we are conditioned to it operantly, whether we know it or not?
I don't know if it's a frequency.
That far beyond what we just talked about?
No, it's not. It's not. But I don't think it's a frequency. I think we are conditioned, and we've been conditioned to depend on this because of that. This thing right here does so many different things, and there's so many bells and whistles, and we depend on this. We pay our bills on this. We talk to people on this. We text people on this. We freaking watch our TV on this. We do research on this. You know what I mean? There's so many things that we do on our phones.
But now think about it too. You always have that, okay, well, what if? And then you think, as stupid as it sounds, what if the fucking building collapses and I have to use my phone to call for help?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
But do you guys, the FOMO and the tech addiction, I totally agree with 100%. All I'm putting out there is the postulate now, have they gone where Stevie's thinking about something and the ad will come up?
Oh, yeah, You've
seen the Star Wars toy where you can make levitate.
I was just thinking about that, dude.
So how far beyond the question is if Apple apologizes, hey, sorry, we heard you banging your wife in the ass last night and we still got that audio, but don't sue us. We're just sorry. We're not going to listen anymore, we promise. That those same people don't have some type of electronic dog whistle for humans that your phone is emitting all the time, that you will come and play fetch anytime it senses maybe your body heat or as we saw, your heart rhythm leaving, a lot. Maybe your fucking Fitbit is talking to that and giving off information that you don't even realize of what it's measuring.
Listen, it could very well be. That's, it's not far-fetched. It's not hard to imagine that they're in sync with each other and they've done hit at some kind of frequency, like you said, that attracts us. It could very well be. I mean, if it comes out that one day that's the case, then what are the people going to say? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's the way it is.
And we're fine. We're good.
Yeah. You know what?
But that's
at the end of the day, it's the Holy Trinity.
What's the frequency to give you an aneurysm or give you a heart attack?
No, you're right.
They got that figured out. They got the fucking other one to drop.
Listen, the Holy Trinity, wallet, keys, phone. That's all you need.
Well, I have a weird thing that's been happening to me ever since Sal got off Twitter. I've been wanting to kind of get off social media. I automate a lot of stuff. I always wanted to auto schedule it, but I don't pick the phone up I haven't checked Twitter in over 2 weeks. Like the day after Sal got off, I just stopped checking it. I'll do automated tweets like for the business or whatever. I only check Facebook Messenger to see what you guys are. That's the only messages that are going back and forth. I really don't have I don't know what it is. It's kind of jumped the shark to me. It's kind of like, maybe it's because of wrestling and the negativity or toxicity or people just dealing with marks or whatever, but I don't care much for it anymore. Even putting stuff up on YouTube, the last time I've read a comment, I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, it's about creating content, and if you want to send me a question, you have a real question, I always say email me, because the comment section and stuff like that, and even negativity all around,
it's full of garbage.
Get anything out of it. So I feel like I've broke the chain of that. If anything, I watch a lot of videos on my iPad. I leave the phone kind of on the nightstand because I have the watch, but I don't feel like I have to go back and I don't feel like I want to film anything anymore. I don't feel like taking pictures of anything outside of my cats or whatever, but I don't feel, I guess maybe going up to the mountains every single weekend made me say, if I got this in front of my face, I'm not experiencing what it is. I'm not missing out. I'm actually looking right at it and not through the lens of this.
Agreed.
It's really weird because all my stuff is based in technology to create a product and a brand and everything, but I feel a true disconnection and almost really a resentment towards it now.
Sure. And what's interesting is hunting season approaches, and I've talked about that human sense of where I'll leave that at camp, where it'll be the mommy don't leave me at kindergarten feeling as I walk out of the driveway without it, but then when I'm in the woods and I have to turn it down and I tune into another sense that's completely lost too, that I'm not aware of until I have to get back to that hunting and stalking. And, all these senses that we don't label as the five senses of a sense of balance, sense of direction, common sense. I mean, all of these simple things, or whether they say trust your gut instinct, that are far beyond, touch, taste, sight, sound, that are we actually going to tap into them and have these tech companies found a way to manipulate them, ahead of the curve. Other stories from the Horseman chat, you guys will probably end up covering King Tut's sarcophagus removed from the tomb for the first time. And then also Stooge Report is on Making a Murderer, that Wisconsin murderer has stepped up and said that he admits to killing in the Dassey murders from the Making a Murderer stuff. So we'll see if that changes the case at all with both of them still behind bars, and updates going that way. So a lot of interesting follow-up stories, but these misdirection spots with them using the kids and all that shit in the UN and Epstein getting cooled off I believe is exactly what that's for and what's going on.
Agreed.
We're going to try and book some high-level guests, more high-level guests, you guys, every week, because we want to keep taking the show to the newer and higher heights. Actually in some talks with something else, possibly for a Horseman comic book. So I need to talk to these guys about storyline and possibly doing art if they want, but if not, because I suck at drawing, it'll be stick figure theater instead of master shoot theater if I do it. So I'm excited for everything with the video game that we got going on. Hopefully GGP heals up real quick here, and thanks to you guys for sending in emails general neutral messages to conspiracyhorseman@gmail.com. Appreciate the conversation tonight. Some good questions asked and good participation with, I think we were up to 57 at our highest in the chat room at twitch.tv/conspiracyhorseman. There's great interactors all the time. And Stevie and I will be back in the morning, Stevie, if you are still alive, to do the kayfabe version of the Friday Locker Room on Thursday around 8:30 in the morning. So join us then if you guys are looking for something to do in the morning, you guys. Big Salah, what are you painting, man?
I'm working on a couple things. I got shit coming up. I have a game this weekend, so I want to, I wasn't being rude. Well, I was being rude, so but I can multitask.
That loud painting.
Was I loud?
No.
Oh. Okay, so that's the one I was working on.
That fucker.
And then had to make it and paint it. I don't know if you could see it. It's basically a bunch of ants. It's a giant swarm. So that's what I was working on during the thing while I was talking, and I'm not going to apologize.
I've got those 4 guys, the Horsemen. I've got 2 shark and bears. A thing to hold your dice. Those big brass knuckles.
Tremendous. Oh, those are. That's
and those gems.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get all that packed up for you tomorrow and send.
Thanks, buddy.
So.
Thank you. So, let's see. I guess are we doing the wrap up? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. I just
okay.
If you want to see Sal D&D live, where can they catch you and come Twitch it?
We're not doing it yet. We're actually working on getting you guys together to do it. It's just the point of doing this anyway. I showed Stevie this weekend. I wanted to share it with you guys too because it was. So I had a dream. Okay.
Okay, Martin Luther.
You used to read Word Up magazine?
Yeah. Now
Salt and Pepper on the cover of the mag.
I had the dream, and I had these aliens. It was some sort of aliens that came, and they were talking. They were communicating. No words, no speech. So I wound up making what I saw in my dream. Okay. So, and they were talking to me, explaining. It's just hot glue. It's hot glue with bread ties inside, and I just go over it. And so I made them because there was a bunch of them, and they were just talking to me the whole time, explaining how they can take energy from anywhere. And this dream, you know how in dreams that would just jump back and forth real quick. This felt like a shoot hour and 30 minutes in the dream. So it was really weird, and I was talking to Stevie this weekend, telling him, because it seemed so real and everything. So I woke up.
What they look like, the aliens? Like
insane?
Like exactly like that? Like
this is exactly what they look like.
Okay,
and then
am I insane? I'm fucking guy.
But that's the thing.
Can't see the aliens from my dream. You fucking where's your vision, you fucking asshole.
So no, but that was the thing. I woke up and I knew exactly how to make these.
That's awesome, though.
I knew exactly how to do it, and I was like, there is straight up. I know how to do this because I just knew. And it was like they were made of solid water, and their whole body was able.
Ice?
They had little synapses. That wasn't ice, but it was like little synapses firing off inside them, the little pops going off.
So it looks like a nerve with some gelatinous water around it, right?
But that was the thing. Their whole body was conductive, and they could just pull energy from anywhere and absorb it, like reverse thermokinetics. Like,
what do you
talk? Did they talk to you in English?
Well, I heard it in my head. There was they don't have mouths or anything. They were just standing there.
No, but what you heard in your head was in English?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It was just talking. So I got to, talking about it. And then after I talked to Stevie, I started thinking about it, and I had them get together and then split. So I don't know if you can actually see that. So they got together to make one big one, and then they kept splitting apart. So I wound up making one, and I know, again, it's insane because I was like, I had to finish this. Like, I had to do them as it came into my head. So I wound up doing it, and I don't know why I was telling Steve I was fucking possessed this weekend. And again, it was like a half hour, 45 minutes of doing that. But it had to get done at that moment. Like, I was in the middle of something else. But it was just like, fuck it, I got to do this right now.
Was Sal taken by UFO to be implanted to create this thing as a stooge and to put it out there? I love the visual in my mind of whatever little grays or those aliens like floating Sal out the door and then trying to get him in the UFO and then the UFO's like, God damn, but they get him up anyway. Afterwards, like he really sandbags the UFO real hard.
Nice. But yeah, it was just one of those things, and the fact that they were so huge, they were like 7 or 8 feet tall, and it was like, they were but they weren't, no fear, there was nothing going on. But like I said, it was just something that was just like, you need to pay attention to this for some reason.
Very cool, man. I'm glad that you can take something out of your mind that's a powerful dream and actually create functional art out of it for something you love too, man.
Two things.
Oh yes, sir. What do they look like?
No, dude.
What are you naming it?
Nothing. I don't have a name for them.
Okay.
It's not important because they never gave me one.
Right. So, two things. One, I'm marking out the fact they're not humanoid. Because you know how people always say they see aliens and it's always humanoid, and you say it best.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because people don't know how to think out of that spectrum because that's all they see are human beings. That everything that they see, they attest that what they're seeing is a humanoid fucking being, which, whatever. So I like the fact that it looks like that. That's awesome. What did they tell you? Do you remember exactly what you guys were talking about?
Oh yeah. We're about how they absorb energy and they could just take it from anywhere.
So they were just smarting you up on what they do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, it was just a conversation that lasted like an hour and a half for real. It felt.
And two, are you chipped from the HR department in CERN? Maybe they're fucking with you.
Listen,
maybe Jordy Rose decided to fuck with you with the fucking quantum computer or something.
I don't ask you about your work.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very fair enough. By the way, I'll reduce your mortgage. Don't worry about it.
If not you, I'm going to go to Nova because Nova's going to work out my mortgage.
Nice.
For hot glue, they look awesome. I would like to. I mean, not the additive manufacturing of 3D printing. You wouldn't love it.
He's frozen.
Where it actually from the better resin. That's what I thought it was.
Oh no! I just that's hot glue and ice water, man. I just
man.
Froze it on the spot so it smoothed out clear. So
you should sell it.
Why? Why would I sell them?
That's your art.
Dude, why?
How ironic.
$400 to $600 off a painting.
Yeah, right. But how ironic! The guy who knows sells everything tells you have to sell it. How ironic is that? Sorry, Stevie. I love you. You haven't spoken. You haven't spoken much this whole episode, so I'm trying to get you.
I've been laying back. I'm running on fumes. Wrestling is destroying me. So
he had to read that copy, and he's excited about the copy tomorrow on the Friday.
Nice.
Tomorrow, but sell it, man. That's kind of stuff it might inspire you to have more.
I'd have to make others. I'd make other things. I can't sell these guys. These are.
I don't know, man. Check the chat room. I don't know. That's art.
People want a piece of you.
I will make new stuff. I can't sell these. These mean something for some reason. I have to pay attention to that.
Sure, let them be inspiration.
So, as far as
you're going to sell them for,
stop.
You should sell them.
Listen. Oh, David Cross is going to show up and say that these are anti-Semitic or whatever else, and I can't have that.
David
Cross.
David Cross sounds more reasonable.
If you do sell them, you can buy a 3D printer.
Fucking cocksucker.
Absolutely.
So like I was saying, the Horror Junkyard at protonmail.com. We just recorded last night for.
Is that the CERN server?
It is the secure CERN server. And that is, we just did Rock and Roll Nightmare, another John Mickle Thor movie, which is just garbage. But was
there a glass table involved?
There was not a glass table because
wrong rock and roll. Sorry.
Yeah, this movie felt like an hour under a glass table, and Brigitte Nielsen taking a fucking power dump right on it.
She was in it.
No.
Oh.
Brigitte Nielsen now, not
now. Yeah, now, yeah. The one that looks like a folded handbag. Her fucking butthole looks like a worn out balloon.
Yeah, boy.
Awesome. Well, I mean, we're getting great comments on Horror Junkyard. Always good feedback from the horror junkies that do love that. Bad cinema that you guys are so endeared to. So definitely keep cranking it out. Do I have to redo the graphic because the young lady's back on the show?
Well, no, we are working on that. We're gonna try to figure out something. I want to try to maybe mess around with the graphic a little bit myself, or have Chuck wants to do some stuff on it. Aside from that, I want to reach out to some of the people because a lot of the guys from here obviously go and they listen. You lazy cunts. We get emails from the same people over and over. And I have to say the one thing that's gone since I've gotten rid of Twitter, the big zero. I don't hear from him anymore.
Oh.
I do not hear from him anymore.
No from Frankie. Well, he's busy writing the hot AEW angles that they're going to take.
So that I just want to yeah. So yeah, I know what's his name, the fucking redneck race car driver, Justin French he's going to be on the other show with Kat, and they're going to be watching that shitty movie that he told Stevie he'd pay him $100 to watch.
Right.
They're gonna do the 10-minute video with it, whatever that is, and because that's. So yeah. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for the guys who have written in. Thank you guys for writing in. The rest of you lazy twats, fucking write in a fucking email for God's sakes.
I'm gonna make a suggestion this week. I'll find a good one. I want to write in. I got a couple writing in other shows too. Some comedy friends have. GGP rehab, man. I suggest Stevie Richards Fitness light band, light reps. I think it'll bring you back quick with a big dose of anger. I see you.
Oh, the anger's definitely there, dude.
I know. But I want you for next opportunity to maybe turn, a dark cloud into something more positive and come back even more undeniable.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. There was too much noise in the background.
Go fuck yourself. He's got a robot behind him tweaking and beeping the whole fucking show, and you're going to give me crap. Go fuck yourself.
It is tweaking.
It's tweaking and twerking. Well, let's see. Obviously, I pulled off all the shows that I was supposed to be on, which is like
gross. 4
shows, which I'm missing that big opportunity that you guys know about that I can't. All due to recklessness and stupidity and carelessness. And it's what it is.
Does Mike cut out?
Yeah, I think your mic's just wiggle
it just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
I want to see you wiggle it just a little bit
as it moves.
Can you hear me now?
There we are. All right.
You should have seen when I ripped him. That he was super pissed off backstage, and I'm trying to treat him with kid gloves because I don't want him to get even hotter or whatever. And docs are checking his arm after they put it in, and I go, "You want to see how fucking high he can raise his arm?" Because I had his envelope in my pocket.
I'm sorry, there was noise in the background. What was that?
Fuck yourself.
So I just started raising the envelope up, and you see his fucking hand come up to try and get it too.
I popped. That was great.
We'll see how it is.
I'm not going to be on any shows coming up that I was supposed to be on, but tomorrow the NFL podcast will drop, and our first YouTube video will be on the line this week. So we're going to bring NFO. The actual podcast is going to be both audio and visual, and we're going to be at Comic-Con on the 4th of October, the New York Comic-Con. We're going to be there strong with T-shirts for sale. We're going to be doing guerrilla-style interviews with everybody about Star Wars. So if you see us, please interact with us and buy a T-shirt because we got kids to feed, and I'm not fucking bumping and selling for anybody for the next 4 weeks. So that's that.
Well, that's awesome, man. A huge Comic-Con spot, October 20th. I think you were going to try and make it to the Crow 777.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to try to make it to that for sure. So absolutely.
Go, get down there, get your picture taken with the Horsemen, Crow 777, Billy Ray Valentine. Going to be an awesome time, October 20th. Unfortunately, I realized that I am back in Canada that day in that TLC match. So you guys will be having a much easier day than I will be. But NFO, that's awesome with video. Look forward to having that. I'm going to send both those to Russo Brand to be the debut, I believe, of NFO on Russo Brand. And I think the next big push, you guys, outside of wrestling, look at this guy. He looks like a fucking clone. Let's get him in a Stormtrooper shot. Let's get him to be a Mandalorian. Obviously GGP would fucking thrive on all this new Disney stuff as anything from a bounty hunter to a badass. And dude, that's where we transition out of wrestling and where we're all going anyway. So at the end of the day, that content will be far more legacy and long lasting, in my opinion, and wrestling will come to us. And there's nobody who's more educated and would do it a better service than this guy right here, in my opinion. So
thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're welcome. Excited to see it and whatever's coming in 2020. Big things. Unfortunately, we're a little bit held back right now, but we're going to keep pushing through. 20th, like I said, I'm in Welland, Ontario, Crossfire. 26th, back at Immortal, defending the Middle Eastern Championship. A lot of new shows getting added. People are saying, what's going on with the lineup at Hameen Media? We're going to add the AEW show. Stooge Report Joe Jan, my old co-host from WrestleZone's coming back to help cover Impact. So we're adding more great producers and talent that I know can carry the ball. He's also a host on XM Radio for sports. So I'd almost like to pair him up for Stevie and Hitting the Marks podcast. They're doing Hitting the Marks Sports podcast. That's going to drop on Hameen Media as well, you guys. I've been trying to hit up my comedy friends for Hameen and TJ Jagodowski from the Sonic commercials agreed today. He said he'd love to come on. Like I said, I've got all these high-level people from Chicago, but I'm going to have to really bust their balls this week because I want to get these out and done for you guys. So we appreciate you just kind of staying tuned, hanging with us. We keep to our regular schedule, but there will be bonus content for you guys to download, high-level stuff. And as Stevie keeps doing the Stevie Richards broadcast, just great things that way. I haven't listened to the new one, Stevie, about you don't have to buy my a fitness system to get in great shape. So still just trying to inspire even without making $1 off somebody. Refreshing.
Morals and ethics will destroy my brand. It's been predicted. You don't have to be fucking Nostradamus to see that. So, yeah, but people need to know there's no excuse whether or not you're going to buy the program or buy any program. You have enough information instantly to search on YouTube or anything like that. And I did, the only thing I kind of healed people, but they needed to hear it was, don't send me emails or messages telling you what free workout to do. You can find it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why programs exist, because people are lazy and they want people to tell them what to do.
Yeah, you got to take that initiative, even if it's the first small baby step of accountability for yourself. I love doing SRF, especially when I get pissed off during women's matches on SmackDown. It's always good to get the tension out real quick. But, I've been at Planet Shitless doing my thing, comboing it up. So there's no...
You look great, man, Saturday.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Still going hard. I got a long way to go. But it's just chipping away. Rome wasn't built in a fucking day, that's for sure. So it's the inspiration. It's saying, hey, I'm part of something bigger than myself, but I'm doing it for myself. And you don't need it just to have some celebrity contact with fucking Stevie to jumpstart you. If you got the program, get off your ass and fucking do something. Don't be a baby. We're here to help, but we're not here to spoon feed at the same time, But again, appreciate catching up on the news with all my brothers this week. Conspiracy Horseman chat was red hot with a lot of cool stories and people doing strange things. And that's what we like the best, because when the going gets weird, the weird turn pro. And you're here with the pros of truth seeking with the Conspiracy Horseman, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman, hackerhameen.podbean.com, StevieRichardsFitness.com, and RussoBrand.com, infidels. Oh.